In the last video, we learned of Sjari, an awoken techeun of Morozov's court. We learned of her training and experimentation under Kali of the Last Wish raid, and we learned of a comical encounter between her and Petrovenge after Morozov's disappearance during the events of the Taken King expansion. There are 2 more lore entries about Sjari. Now, admittedly, there could be some debate about which lore entry is first and second chronologically. However, they are presented in the order I believe is correct. The first comes from the returning warlock exotic, the Nothing Manacles. Sjari, like the other techeuns we are rescuing as part of the seasonal activities for this current season, is currently lost in the Ascendant Plane. The lore picks up with her experience surviving in this strange place between places, and goes as follows. The Nothing Manacles. The equations balance thus. You are diminished, and I am exalted. You are broken, and I am made strong. Sjari drifts face up through the amethyst eddies. She maintains her focus, keeps her mind calm, so that she can stay nestled in the magic flow between places without emerging, without attracting the hive. She can sense them around her, their foul presence charging the ley lines, waiting for a pocket of potential space to materialize. She needs to keep them here. Wherever here is, as she does not know where she landed after the eruption of energy that threw her from her line, and far from the dreaming city. From Mara. The thought of Mara's return sends a trill of hope through her. She can almost see Mara's face framed in the lilac mist. The effect is subtle but immediate. Gently, the current of the ley line changes course, bringing Sjari back to her queen. With a start, she pushes the thought of Mara out of her conscious mind. She thinks instead of stillness, of the flickering blackness of the bleak plains, of the awful limbo of being trapped between worlds. She desires it, begs for it, and the current obliges. It calms, and Sjari floats aimlessly once more. Better to die in this barren realm than lead the hive back home. Techeuns, like Guardians, have paracausal power and the ability to traverse the Ascendant Plane. In that previous lore entry, we see that she is purposefully avoiding returning to the Dreaming City because if she did, it would risk leading Xivu Arath's hive directly to the Awoken. However, all is not lost, no pun intended, for Sjari. We see in the lore entry of the Iota Draconis, the new seasonal fusion rifle, that there is some hope for her return. It reads as follows. The paths between stars are fractal mirrors of the neurons in our brains and the vicissitudes of our fates. Sjari, awoken techeun. Sjari's eyes snapped open as the telltale sizzle of a fusion rifle pierced the miasma of this ascendant plane. The techeun had been sitting against the same crumbling wall for over 2 weeks as an unrelenting sludgy river of gray fog flowed past her, the damp air clinging to her skin. The stench of the Taken permeated her nostrils. Ozone, gun lubricant, and the sickly sweet burn of soul fire. The fusion rifle sounded again, closer this time. The shot was met with garbled hisses and returned gunfire as the Taken rallied. After her abandonment, Sjari had tried to move as little as possible as to not attract the attention of Taken patrols that periodically swept the area. But the fighting moved closer, now a dozen meters from her hiding place. She quieted her fear and let her mind go lax, encouraging them to overlook her. She had staved off the prying minds of the taken scions by lowering her heart rate and entering a deep meditative trance, sometimes for many hours at a time. But each time she re-emerged into her body, its demands became harder to ignore. She was desperate for food, for water, for anything. Despite all her training, she was nearing the end of her resolve, until she heard a voice, soft, clear whisper in her ear. "Have faith, my techeans. You are lost but not forgotten. Help is on the way." It seemed that Queen Mara's promise would finally come to pass. There was yet hope. As we can see, our efforts to rescue the techeans have been reverberating through the Ascendant Plane, and Sjari has been giving something she's long been without: hope of rescue. I wouldn't be surprised if her story continued, either in the weekly seasonal lore or into the future seasons, but for now, this is the end of her story. If you have more lore questions, or just want to hang out and have a chill, cozy time, consider following me on Twitch at twitch.tv/SkunkyVT. I stream on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays every single week, and would be happy to talk about the lore there. But for now, keep your eyes peeled and your ears keen. Signing off.